Hi, it's Joe Mazumdar of Exploration Insights at the January 2025 edition of the Metals Investment Forum. And with me right now is Wendell Zerb, President CEO of Red Canyon Resources. Wendell, how's it
Joe?
going? You just presented in my session about this new company you've put together. Very low market cap, less than 10 million, with about a million in cash, tight share structure, about 45 million shares, looking for copper in British Columbia and in the States. So, what's your focus right now in terms of, you're just starting out, but you've got a couple of prospects that you're focused in on?
Sure. So, it is a relatively new company, but when we say relatively, this company started early as a private
Oh,
company
yeah, yeah.
before we went public. So it's actually been in the works for about 5 years.
Oh, okay, okay.
But in the public realm, just over 2 years being public, it's got a fantastic share structure. But there's a common theme kind of around what we're trying to achieve. Background of the group is a lot in the mining business, in the mineral exploration business. We felt that copper was just a purely unexplored commodity in many jurisdictions, or in North America, we also felt that there was lots that was missed. You'd go into the past history of explorers looking for copper, and they always went through these cycles of looking for something, and then it would go completely
Yeah,
dead
never a
for
follow up.
Right. So we wanted to look in the best belts. We think that there was big opportunity in those. We scanned multiple projects, called hundreds of them, and with that, we've been able to push and develop into those core areas. And right now, we're focusing on two key projects. One of them in west central British Columbia called Kendall, and one of them in Nevada, northern Nevada, called Scraper Springs. Again, very big mineral systems. We are only looking for impactful, large projects, tier one projects that would be of interest to major mining companies.
But I noticed, like in your talk, the other thing you emphasized, which I thought was very good, uh, was you were looking for places that weren't infrastructurally challenged, and most of your ground is 100% staked, with no underlying royalties, which is also very attractive.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, when you're looking for big deposits, you can make discoveries. People have made discoveries in the past, big copper discoveries. But if they're in the middle of the high Andes and you don't have water, or you don't have road access, or even in British Columbia, there's areas that are really difficult and challenged
Need a
for
tunnel through a
topography.
mountain or something like
That's
that.
right. So where, these two projects that I mentioned, absolutely fantastic infrastructure. So it just gives you a big margin advantage should you be able to find
Yeah,
the right
you were
kind of
telling me when
mineralization.
we talked to you late last year, that Kendall is like very close to Terrace, right off the road from Terrace. Like, what was it, 50 kilometers? Or
Yeah, it's not even. It's from the town of Terrace straight up the highway to the north east, call it. You're a 20-minute drive,
yeah,
and then it's 5 kilometers off the road. It goes over a ridge, so it's sort of protected from the view of the highway.
yeah.
But you just couldn't have a better infrastructure.
Yeah, and I've been near Scraper Springs when I went and looked at Headwaters prospects, which is near Midas, and secondary road access, gravel access. But yeah, it's that's also pretty. Granted, when it was very muddy, it was difficult. But so, Where's the focus right now? Because I know you're Kendall is where you're right now, but Scraper Springs is somewhere you're going to be advancing the latter part of 2025.
Right. So at the end of 2024, we put in the first ever drill program at Kendall. This very large alteration system, and when I say alteration, it's really the surface expression you see that these big porphyry systems convey. Never had a drill hole before. We put in 5 drill holes covering the northern part of this big system. Every single drill hole hit copper, moly mineralization, all the right kind of vein mineralogy that you look for in these systems, top to bottom, copper and moly mineralization, but we're in a lower grade part of the system. And again, very typical of these big systems, you have to hone into the better part of the system. So by far, given its infrastructure, given the early results, we're very excited about Kendall. That would be our first focus. But Scraper Springs is equally dynamic. It's not as
And
well
undrilled
advanced.
as well.
Undrilled for copper mineralization. This sits at the northern end of the Carlin Trend in Nevada, which everybody kind of knows of as a gold area. But again, an alteration footprint that's very similar to some of the biggest copper deposits in the world. And we just think it was previously unrecognized. So over the last years, we have been collecting all the data. In Nevada, it's more difficult to get historical data. We've taken that, we've digitized it, we've added to it more geochemistry, more studies, and we just finished an expanded geophysical program.
Meaning, was it IP or what was it?
We actually did property-wide gravity. We took existing magnetic work and we did magnetic inversion studies, which tell you how that magnetic feature is manifesting to depth. And then we expanded our IP coverage. So it's all those combination of geophysical features that we see together with what we see on surface that's given us great confidence that we're onto a very large system. When you look at IP geophysics, it's one of the key ones that we use in trying to discover a copper deposit. So that one was important. It shows us a very high chargeable feature and in correspondence with a very conductive zone. And that is a signature that everybody loves. But then you tag on all these other things that I mentioned, the gravity, the magnetics, all the surface alteration and types of high temperature mineralogy we see. We think we have an excellent chance at making a big discovery.
So what is the plan for that? You've already delineated the target. Now it's just designing the drill program?
Yeah, so this is now drill ready. We are looking at our options on what we'd want to test from a drilling standpoint. Our first indications are that we'd be looking for, kind of a 3 drill hole program. This will be a deeper target.
Like, what are we talking, 800-meter hole?
We think the top of the system is somewhere around 400 meters, which is actually not very deep when you look at how majors are drilling, kilometer holes plus to make these big discoveries. So we'd be looking at a 3-hole program, 800 meters each hole. We're looking at our options on funding that ourselves. There's also always the opportunity in our business to possibly partner. Always looking at those opportunities which exist out there. It's going to be that combination of either drilling both projects this year or potentially drilling one and seeing how things work out on a partnering standpoint.
Right. So at Kendall, are you going to be drilling that one parallel, or is it going to be Scraper Springs and then Kendall and then back and forth?
I think our first priority would be going back and drilling at Kendall.
Okay.
And plain and simply, we know we're into a big mineral system. We know that we just have to move, or we think we have to move laterally to test a different part of the system. The reality is that we can use Canadian flow-through funds, which is a great opportunity for explorers, less dilutive for shareholders, and that's an opportunity that we'll take advantage of.
Right, and these are shallower holes, like 400-meter holes?
Yeah, I think we'd probably, on average, drill 500 meters per hole. Probably 5, maybe up to 10 new drill holes.
Okay. What's your average cost at Kendall to drill?
So there's some variability in what it costs us because on the property, a good portion of the property is road access.
Right.
And so we can actually get away with, costs that are, call it $280 Canadian a meter for those
compared to
holes.
some areas which are 1,000.
That's right. Yeah. But we also will be supported by a helicopter, and we did that in the past. And then it starts to push into that $400 per meter Canadian, which is still very attractive.
Yeah. But even Nevada right now is like $400 US, right?
I think it's even higher.
Okay, yeah. And this is road access, no
That's right.
helicopters,
That's
no
right.
camp. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
One of the advantages that we've taken, that we do with a sister company is we pre-collar using RC, and
So that top 400 meters might be RC, and then you switch to core.
that's right.
Right.
Big
Okay.
cost advantages if we do that.
All right. Well, thank you very much. This is Red Canyon Resources, small micro cap, tight share structure, technical people running a grassroots exploration programs in British Columbia as well as in the Southwest U.S. with catalysts coming with respect to drilling new undrilled targets. We'll say goodbye to Wendell Zerb, President
Thanks, Joe.
CEO of Red Canyon. That's it for me, Joe Mazumdar, Exploration Insights at the January 2025 edition of the Metals Investment Forum. Thank you very much for listening.